Hey guys, Kevin Shaw here, Editor-in-Chief of the Watercraft Journal, and in this episode of Uncut, we're taking a sneak peek from our hours of footage that we took this weekend at the Fall Mudbug in Morgan City, Louisiana. In this clip, we are chasing Jason Allen on his Sea-Doo GTX Limited 300 as I'm aboard the brand new 2022 Kawasaki Ultra 310 LX. There's been quite a bit of chatter in regards to the size of the Ultra versus the Sea-Doo. I know in pictures the Kawasaki just looks like an absolute monster compared to the Sea-Doo. But it's important to know that the factory specs are surprisingly close, especially when you look at the 310X versus the LX. The LX, of course, has the Ultra deck. That is the deck extension that they have on the LX and LXS. So it would be similar to if Sea-Doo offered the extended Fish Pro deck on the GTX next year and compared that versus the LX, only because the two add anywhere from 5 to 5.5 inches to the total length of the watercraft. Otherwise, surprisingly enough, lengthwise, the Kawasaki comes in half an inch shorter than the Sea-Doo without the deck. It's also important to know that the Kawasaki is 2.5 inches more narrow than the Ultra. I know in pictures that we've shown that could not be the case because you get those big front flares, but believe it or not, the Ultra is surprisingly over 2 inches more narrow side to side than the Sea-Doo is. And if you do look at the factory specs, the Ultra shows several inches more height over the GTX, but that is predominantly because of the wind diffuser, the windscreen that's on the front of the ski, as well as the two added speakers. Again, if you do look at the Ultra 310X versus the GTX or RXTX, you'll see that the Sea-Doo isn't much shorter, only about 1.5 inches shorter than the Kawasaki. Now, the big difference between the two machines is going to be weight, and there's really no apologizing for it, there's really no excuse, but it is important to know some key differences. Kawasaki lists curb weight. Now, curb weight, as per Kawasaki, is everything necessary that you need to fire up the ski and go ride. That includes 21.1 gallons of gas, 5.5 quarts of oil, and a battery. Sea-Doo does not list any of that. There's no engine coolant, there's no oil, there's no battery, there's no gas. It is bone dry. Now, what I really wanted to show in this clip was really a demonstration of how nimble the Kawasaki is at speed, even in really tight turns with a passenger like I was riding today in this footage. The Cowie can lean in nice and really make a good snap turn. It is a little surprising to folks to watch this big old girl run around the corners as hard as she does. And it can be done, and it can do so easily and naturally. It's almost like you're on a watercraft half its size. And this is, again, just a teaser from the footage that we have upcoming from the Mudbug, as well as our shootout between this and the 2022 GTX Limited 300, which will be coming up in just a few weeks.